Ars Poetic here with a brief game preview video. There were over 300 trailers that have recently dropped throughout the 2022 Summer Games Fest, among other recent events. I wanted to highlight a selection of these games that have attracted my interest. Most of these games had previous reveals and trailers, while others made their debut at one of these events. Regardless, there are a lot of exciting trailers to watch this summer, with many of these games releasing very soon or in the near future. Some may already be out by the time you're watching this. I'll be keeping an eye on all of these games and hopefully be playing them all at some point or another. If anything catches your interest, I implore you to look up these games and check out the developers behind them, or even the publishers. Chances are you'll find even more games that you're interested in. I'll be displaying some information in the corner for every game I talk about, including developer, genre, platforms, and release date. There is no real order or ranking to this list. I've also included the platforms for every title in the description so you can skim through if you only want to check out games on the platforms that you own. However, I'm sure a few of these will eventually release on other platforms, so it's worth checking them out even if you don't own the platforms currently listed. If you dig this content, be sure to let me know and check out my other videos. If you like what you see on my channel, be sure to subscribe for future videos like this one. Ill. With only a couple of teasers, there's not much known about this game. It seems to strike a balance of high intensity and slow-paced combat while taking some serious inspiration from Resident Evil. The monster design looks wild, full of creepy vibes, and taking advantage of Unreal Engine 5, this game looks like it could be great. Escape from Tarkov Arena. This is a spin-off of the successful Escape from Tarkov game, featuring the realistic mechanics but in a more focused PvP and PvE arena-style modes. Escape from Tarkov is much more tactical and full of gameplay mechanics that the average shooter doesn't have, so getting a more streamlined version of that for a quick play seems like an exciting twist. The Callisto Protocol. The co-creator of Dead Space brings you this all-new game that is without a doubt a true spiritual successor of the first two games in that series, which are the two games that he was involved in. Dead Space 1 and 2 are easily among my favorite games of the action horror genre, if not my favorites. We all know the third one sucked, leaving EA to axe the franchise, but thankfully the Callisto Protocol looks to be scratching that itch that had been left behind since. Rollerdrome. I don't even need to say much here. Guns and skates. It sort of feels like My Friend Pedro in a 3D space hit with a heavy dose of Tony Hawk style roller skating action. Season, a letter to the future. The art direction of this game looks beautiful. The trailer definitely captured my eye as I felt like I was watching a painting in motion. There seems to be a bit of a mystery to this story, as it seems to unfold over environmental exploration through different actions, like taking photographs and audio recordings. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. This game looks like a fun blend of action and open exploration with some RPG elements thrown into the mix. The dialogue suggests that the main character will be taking on the challenge of killing gods as one of her main goals. The combat here looks like a blast, as it has a mix of melee, magic, and shooting. The gameplay shows a decent amount of maneuverability as the character attacks enemies with various spells and weapons while flipping around with a fox-like sidekick. The trailer shows off a mix of different environments, enemies, and what seem to be bosses. The Last Case of Benedict Fox. The art style in this one piqued my interest, as I'm a sucker for mid-20th century aesthetics and well-done animation. The Lovecraft themes also drew me to it. The game appears to have you explore some supernatural environments, fighting various enemies and uncovering deeper mysteries within the memories of deceased victims. The Steam summary of this game highlights the Tim Burton-esque art style, which I can definitely appreciate. Ereban, Shadow Legacy. Stealth action and platforming. Sign me up. As a fan of stealth games and solid platforming action, this game has me super excited. There is an interesting blend of sci-fi tech and supernatural abilities, as the character you play as can manipulate and shape-shift into shadows, traveling through them and gaining the element of surprise. As Dusk Falls. I love a good interactive narrative game with multiple paths. As Dusk Falls brings along its own story with a rather unique visual direction. The result appears to be something similar to the film A Scanner Darkly, but in a stop-motion style by just highlighting select key frames, which allow you to soak in the art. Scorn. This is some straight nightmare fuel here. The first footage for this game dates back as far as 2015, if not earlier, so this one has been a long time coming, but looks much more polished than ever before. Scorn takes a real deep dive into some full-on alien shit. This looks like a bad acid trip through hell. Everything just has this strange, organic, and otherworldly feel to it that drips of isolated horror. Cocoon. From the lead designer of Inside and Limbo comes this interesting puzzle platformer, Cocoon. As a fan of both Limbo and Inside, I'm looking forward to this one. It seems to take a world within worlds concept for level design as you explore various alien environments to unravel some deeper and seemingly ominous mystery. Diablo 4. Diablo 4 seems to take the action RPG franchise to the next level with further customization and expanded gameplay mechanics, in a shared, explorable open world with over 150 dungeons. There's some cool group instances featuring huge bosses taking large teams to defeat. This seems like it'll be a great game to play with a group of friends, whether they be in person or online. Starfield. This is a big one here, and likely at the top of many anticipated game lists. From the developer that brought you the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games comes this new game taking place on other planets across space. The creation engine has definitely shown its age, and unfortunately Bethesda is sticking with it. That being said, while there seems to definitely be a presence of that good old-fashioned Bethesda jank, this entry does look a lot more polished than previous games. What really makes these games are not only the stories and the characters that bring the worlds to life, but the decisions you can make along the way as you lean into the role of the character you want to play. As long as they deliver on that RPG front, ensuring that the expansive world is full of characters and events worthy of exploration, then I'm sure this will be a great game. While they say there's over 1,000 planets to explore, they also made note to mention that some are barren but resource heavy, which makes sense, but I just hope we don't end up traveling from planet to planet just to collect crap while we try to find new quests. We'll have to wait and see how it all turns out, but I am excited to get my hands on it. Planet of Lana. This one straight up reminds me of Inside from its art style, though it seems to be taking place in a much more colorful and nature-rich world alongside a feline friend of sorts. The Entropy Center. There are definitely heavy Portal vibes coming from this game, as it seems to similarly feature a lot of physics-based puzzles and a comedic tone delivered by an AI character. The tool you wield seems to be a gravity gun of sorts, with the ability to directionally control time as well. Apparently the Earth has been blown up, and the goal is to find a way to restore it. Definitely curious about this one. The Last Faith. A dish of Castlevania with a healthy serving of Bloodborne on the side. This Metroidvania side-scroller has a captivating 2D art style with combat that looks pretty satisfying, featuring a range of weapons and abilities and cool takedown animations. I also dig the soundtrack from what we've heard so far. Once Human. Once Human has a very deliberate focus on cosmic horror, with crazy enemy designs that are apparently creatures from other dimensions. As a survival game, you'll spend time collecting resources, building up your shelters, and managing your health by tending to your hydration and hunger levels. Something about the shooting looks a little stiff to me, but it does look like there are other abilities you can use to fight enemies as well, which will hopefully mix up the combat enough to remain entertaining. There is a PvP and PvE multiplayer element as well. You'll be able to team up with friends while defending yourselves from other players aiming to take your resources. What intrigues me the most are the crazy enemies and the Lovecraftian inspiration, though I do hope that the open world is worth exploring. Seems like the gameplay loop could be a decent amount of fun. SCHiM. A puzzle-based platformer in which you play as some sort of shadow frog who can only jump from shadow to travel. Looks like a delightful puzzle game. Paper Trail, a neat puzzle game that allows you to create and alter paths through folding the paper world that you're traveling through. Flat Eye. Run a futuristic gas station and add new technology to build up the business from the revenue you pull in. Buy a smart toilet and analyze your customers' shit so you can sell them more shit. Boundary. A straightforward PvP shooter, but it's in space with low gravity movement, which enables you to hover about and go on floating kill streaks. There doesn't seem to be much depth here, but it looks like it could be some quick fun. Evotinction. Evotinction brings some sci-fi stealth action without the ability to rely on straight combat as an alternative method. Though you will be unable to take your automated enemies face on, you will have tools and hacking abilities that will help you sneak past them. Skate Story. Skate Story is a skateboarding game that lines up more with the focused and tight gameplay of skate games like Skate and SCHiM. It almost seems like an extravagant mod for one of those games when you look at the gameplay closely. However, the vibe here is on a whole nother level, thanks a lot to the mesmerizing visuals and soundtrack. You play as a skateboarding demon made out of glass, traveling through the underworld saving other tortured souls. The Plucky Squire. The trailer for the Plucky Squire starts off by showcasing an already awesome looking storybook world in which you control the character within the 2D realm of the book's pages. But it takes a hard left turn when the character pops out of the book and is now in a fully realized 3D space. This game looks to seamlessly blend 3D and 2D gameplay with various mechanics while going all in on this fantastical animated film look that looks like a delight to play. Midnight Flight Express. This one looks like a load of fun. It reminds me of Suit for Hire, which is another great game to check out that's currently in early access. While you can also shoot guns here, it looks like there is more emphasis on the melee combat and adrenaline-fueled set pieces across many different situations. That wraps up my Games of Summer 2022 selection. While there are many more that I'm looking forward to checking out, these are the ones I wanted to highlight and share with you. Did you find anything new or interesting here? Or perhaps there's another game you're excited for that I didn't cover? Be sure to let me know in the comments. This is Ars Poetic, dropping the mic.